Hey Tech Math, here are the notes for 611 and 612. So for the first problem, it says, how do we come up with these fractions when reading a ruler? Well, every single ruler is different. We are used to the English system where the smallest unit of measure is 1/16th, but on your homework, you will have rulers that are not broken into 16ths or eighths or fourths. They may be broken into tenths or even sixths. So it's all just going to depend on how many little sections there are on the ruler, and that'll depend on every single individual ruler. All right, first example, when we're talking about inches, these are most often broken into eighths or even 16ths. On the top here, they're broken into eighths. So for A, it's going to be 2 and however many eighths we have. Well, in this case, we have 4 plus 2, so that's 2 6/8, which is the same thing as 2 and, that's not how we write that, 2 3/4. And of course, because we are mathematically accurate, we are also going to add inches at the end of that one. All right, how long is line B? Well, this one is not only broken into eighths, it is also broken into 16ths, which are these little tiny lines right here. So when it's broken into 16ths and we only have one of those lines, it's going to be 2 1/16 inch. This is the system that we're used to. All right, metric system is a little bit different, and it's a little bit tricky if you haven't worked with it in a while. So the metric system is broken up into millimeters. So every single one of these little marks is a millimeter. So if I have 500 plus 90 plus these two little marks, I have 592 millimeters. How do I go from millimeters to centimeters? Well, there are 10 millimeters in every centimeter. So to go from millimeters to centimeters, I need to divide by 10 or just move the decimal point 1 to the left. So I have 59.2 centimeters. Now you'd think to go from centimeters to meters, you would do the same thing, but it's not quite the case. And the reason for that is because there's actually a measurement in between centimeters and meters called decimeters. We don't use that too much, so most people just know the conversion of 100 centimeters is 1 meter. So when we go from centimeters to meters, instead of dividing by 10 like we did here, we're going to divide by 100. So our final answer is actually going to be 0.592 meters, which makes sense because 59 centimeters is about half of a meter, which is what this is telling me. All right, let's jump to the next one. Notice this one doesn't start at 900. It actually starts at 1 meter. How many millimeters are there in a single meter? Well, there's 1,000. So up to a meter, we have 1,000 millimeters plus this little extra bit, which is 10 7 millimeters. So my final answer is 1,017 millimeters. And then, of course, we use the same conversions that we did over here on this page, and we just move the decimal 1 time to the left for centimeters, and 2 more times for meters. Now, because we are working with measurements, we cannot round this number. We must keep all the decimals, because if I round this to 1 meter, there's a very large difference between 1 meter and 1 meter and 17 hundredths of a meter. I'm sorry, 17 thousandths of a meter, which is over here. We have to account for this distance, so no rounding in this unit. All right, that is all there is for the notes. Go do your homework. If you have any questions, let me know.